Hello, I am Brenda. My name is Brenda Villa. Sorry. I am a senior in the CMT school studying chemical engineering. I also have a minor in business. I've been involved in the CMT school with doing like research, capturing CO2 particles. I'm part of the Fulton ambassadors. I worked on campus. I'm super happy to be here and share my experience and answer any questions our future engineering students may have.
Hello, I am Ben. I'm a freshman in aerospace engineering. I'm involved in GCSP and EPICS, which are two of the unique experiences that ASU has to offer.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriella. I am a senior in mechanical engineering. And other than Fulton Ambassadors, I'm involved in engineering projects and community service, which is EPICS, and also the Biomedical Engineering Society.
Thank you, everyone. Dr. Alfred, can you share the presentation, please?
Okay, that I can do. Oops. Ha! Now, this is real-time editing. I don't know exactly how to say it, "Seav," but that is welcome in Hungarian. So we are increasing our list as we go along. All right, first and foremost, as an advocate of ASU's charter, we want to share it with you. You know, the charter is different, totally different from many other universities, because we want to be measured by whom we include, not by whom we exclude, no. And also, we want to actually share in this endeavor of helping improve our society, whether it be economically, socially, culturally, overall. It is our responsibility to be in the forefront of serving our communities. And I think that's important to know. And that's why we are interested in the well-being of our students. Because if you're successful, you will go out and be successful and contribute to our society. Okay, the Fulton Schools of Engineering. Actually, this slide should have been changed just last week, because now we have multiple schools. You can see we have a variety of schools covering almost every discipline, whether we're talking about biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, a whole breadth of disciplines where you can obtain knowledge to contribute to society. And we're global. We have global schools as well. And let's talk a little more about Fulton, because since we're engineers, we like numbers. A very interesting numbers that I say is that we have the largest, I'll say, yeah, we have the largest female population of engineering students. Then one that's dear to me is that we have 7,000 online students. And that means that we're willing to meet people where they are, whether people working in industry who are looking for an advanced degree, like a master's, as well as we have an undergraduate, an ABET accredited undergraduate program in electrical engineering. And we currently just started, our undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering. And I'm looking forward for us to create additional undergraduate degree programs. And if you look, we have more than 50 graduate degree programs and 25 undergraduate degree programs. Not many engineering schools across the country. They even say they have 20. Okay. And why do I bring up the research expenditures? I think it's very important to know that we have research active faculty such that you can participate in undergraduate research. Okay, because when you go out and looking for a job, people will look at, do you have internship experience? Do you have undergraduate research experience? So keep that in mind as you go to school here. And now we talk about the program that's most important, the one that's dear to my heart, is the School for Engineering, Matter, Transport, and Energy. That is the home for mechanical, aerospace, chemical, and materials engineering. And we have additional programs in robotics, biological design. These are graduate programs. And the newest would be modern energy production and sustainable use. Okay. So in our school, we have a large number of students, but we also have a large number of faculty members. And those faculty members are interested in undergraduate education. Okay. And there's some superlatives about the university. Okay. Not so important, I would say. Let's get back to my favorite. The leadership, Dr. Lenore Dye is our director. And if you look at the various degree programs, they have graduate program chairs, which are the undergraduate chairs. These are the people who are responsible for the curriculum development and the well-being of the various programs. Okay, so in aerospace is Professor Velana Wells, chemical, Professor David Nielsen, in materials, Professor Seth Tonge, and in mechanical, again, Professor Velana Wells. And again, we're engineers, so we like numbers. Back in August, we had 3,000 undergrads, almost 550 master students, and 286 PhDs. And I can assure you that number of master students has actually increased substantially. We look at the number of faculty. We have large program, 77.5 tenured faculty members. Those are spread out across chemical materials, as well as mechanical and aerospace engineering. And we have professors of practice. Professors of practice, you may not have heard, but those are people who have practiced engineering for a substantial amount of time, and they come back to give students the benefit of their experience. And a couple of highlights. Again, all of our undergraduate programs are ranked in the top 50. We have award-winning faculty. Professor Nate Newman received the award of the National Academy of Inventors Fellow. And these are people who have made substantial creations to our society. We have students who have gone on to obtain distinguished scholarships. We had a Churchill that's out of England. You get to go to Oxford. We had 4 Goldwater scholarships, I should say. And most importantly, the graduate fellowships have been increasing, okay? And if you look at the research, we've sort of broken it down into functional materials, biomedical engineering, design, manufacturing. We have folks like Professor Stephen Krause, who does engineering education. And we have folks who sort of cross over from mechanical to chemical to electrical, who do systems engineering and robotics, as well as thermal and solar alternative energies. We're a pretty productive group of faculty, publishing journals, but we're also entrepreneurs, and we create knowledge for society, as demonstrated through our invention, disclosures, and patents. And when it comes to publishing, we've had individuals to publish in the two most distinguished journals, Nature and Science. So with that, I will close and entertain any questions you all may have.
Thank you, Dr. Alfred. If you guys have any questions, please put it in the Q&A. I'm here to answer any questions. As an academic advisor, we have our ambassadors. If you want to know more about student life at ASU, they can answer those questions. And of course, Dr. Alfred, he is here to share his expertise from a professor's point of view. So please do ask your questions.
While we're waiting for questions, Brenda or Gabby or Benjamin, do any of you guys want to talk about how you picked your program in SEMTI and what you're hoping to do with your degree?
Yeah, I can start. I chose chemical engineering because I've always been a type of person that likes to have a lot of like options or room to growth. And chemical engineering gave me those things that I was looking for. I am able to work in basically anything that I can think of, going from petroleum industry to pharmaceuticals, working in water treatment plants. It was just like one of the many reasons why I chose chemical engineering. My path to or why I chose chemical engineering was because I really enjoyed chemistry back in high school, and my chemistry professor or teacher told me that there was this chemical engineering degree, and it offered a lot of room for exploring diverse areas and basically engineering. So that's the main reason why I chose my major.
So I actually started off as a biomedical engineering major for my first 2 years, and then I ended up switching to mechanical just because I realized that I wanted a broader, knowledge base, and I wanted more like career opportunities. So I now am gonna, after graduation, I'm gonna go into the power plant industry. So it's just really, I really chose mechanical because of all of those opportunities. And, when I was in biomedical engineering, like a freshman, I never thought I would, gonna be working at a power plant, but there's just so many different things you can do with it. So that's why I chose mechanical.
So I chose aerospace engineering because I like to consider myself as an explorer. And I think aerospace engineering really honed in on that with me, because it's about like creating systems that help learn more about the history of our universe or our solar system. And that's just really fascinating to me, and I want to be a part of that.
Fabulous. And it looks like we have some questions in here. So I can read them off for you, y'all, if you want, and then see who's going to answer them. So the first one is about research. And when will students typically begin research, and how do you get involved in research? I feel like everyone could answer this question. So maybe Dr. Alfred, if you kind of want to start, and then the students can chime in on how they started doing research.
Okay. I'm going to answer with a show and tell.
Perfect.
Okay, now I'm going to move this out the way over here. Oh, I'm trying to, oh, come on. Share screen. Huh. Okay, how to start? Why do I even show this picture? Because when you start your experience, some of you may feel isolated, but you know, you want to find whether you want to find this person to be a good mentor. So find a faculty member who's doing the type of research that is of interest to you. And it could be, you know, just going to the program's webpage and look at the various topics of research that faculty members are doing. But the most important thing, as I've always said, it takes courage to approach faculty members. Some people are a little skeptical, but you should always just take the initiative and approach faculty. Because yeah, some of them may not have the best people skills, but there will be folks that will be interested in you. And I'll tell you right now, when I was the materials graduate chair, if I had a person who had a 3.8 and I had a person with a 3.4, but that 3.4 had a lot of undergraduate research experience working in labs, I got to go with 3.4 because that means they're already trained. They can come into a research group and be active. Okay. Right. So with that, and then I'm going to come back since you all, but I'm encouraging you all to ask your questions today.
I know, Brenda, do you want to talk about how you started research and maybe Fury?
Yeah, I started doing research, I believe it was my junior year. It was as simple as reaching out to my one of my chemical engineering professors during that semester, and I said, I don't have any experience in research, but I'm looking forward to expand my technical skills. What can I do to join your lab? She responded the same day. She said, let's meet up in my office. We'll chat about the different topics that she was doing research in, and we did such. And she basically just told me like, oh, these are the kind of topics that we are currently conducting research in. But if you have anything else that I can help you carry out like such research topic that you're thinking about, let me know, and we'll find a pathway for that. And I basically just went with one of the topics that she was doing research in because I had learned about it through her bio on the ASU website. And then within like 2 weeks, she also suggested to join Fury, which is Fulton Undergraduate Research Initiative. And then she also recommended that to write a proposal to do the research through WASO as well. So it was just two different things or options for me to present my research. And it was a really nice experience because I was only into the research experience for like 2 months, and I was already like presenting to other people what I had recently like learned about. So it was a really nice opportunity for like get presentation skills and share with other people what you're passionate about, what you've been learning, putting in like work or hands-on of what you've been learning in the classrooms. So it is something that I truly recommend all students to be part of. You can do it as early as your freshman year. It only takes an email, you reaching out to the professor and saying that you're interested in working with them.
And there is a session, one of our admitted student sessions that is on undergraduate research. Melissa from the Fury program will be presenting, and Grand Challenge scholars, I think, as well. And they'll be talking about some of the more structured research programs that we have in Fulton. And you can find that through the website. The next question is, how challenging is it for Barrett students to meet Fulton program requirements, specifically aerospace? And I think I'm going to restructure your question a little bit because it's kind of backwards. So actually, your degree program is the engineering program, and you have to meet Barrett requirements as part of that. I see Benjamin nodding his head. Yeah. And so if you haven't attended a Barrett session yet, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. So you need 120 credits to graduate with your undergraduate degree, and 36 of those have to be Barrett Honors credits. You will take the human event your first year, and you will complete a thesis at the end of your time. All those are for credits. And then the way that you fill the rest of your credits is up to you as a student. So it could be anything from research, you can do internships, you can do study abroad to get credit. You can take honors seminars, honors courses that are offered by the Honors College. They have quite a variety of those. There's honors sections as well of some of your courses in your major map. Another common thing we see with engineering students is that they work with their faculty on an honors contract, where you go to your faculty member, you tell them you want to make that course an honors level course, and then you work to either add another assignment, additional questions on exams. I've even seen some faculty that have their Barrett student monitor the Facebook group for that section of the course, and that's how they get their honors credit. So there's a wide variety of different things to do. So speaking as a staff, I think it's definitely watching students do it. You just kind of have to be intentional about how you decide to complete your credits, but I think it's definitely possible. I don't know if any of the ambassadors want to explain how they've kind of accomplished that or plan to accomplish that. But that's kind of how it works.
So I'll speak on it a little bit. I'm not specifically in Barrett, but a lot of my peers are in Barrett, and I've seen how they accomplish their honors credits. So for instance, in my Chem 114 class, I know that how they got an honors credit was that they monitored the Slack channel, which was like the public domain for people to ask homework questions and exam questions. So they're basically moderators on that. And then they also had to write up a little bit of a paper at the end of the semester about something that we had learned in the class. So that's one way that they earned honors credit. I think that for all majors, not just aerospace engineering, you definitely have to reach out and like find ways to earn those honors credits. There's a bunch of ways that you can. I know that in one of my PPE classes, which is a physical education class, some people were getting honors credits to there. So that's also potential. But making sure that you get those honors credits, it is gonna be a little bit more work, but I do think it is rewarding, especially because it can really relate to your Barrett thesis at the end.
I had my honors credits completed by my third year. I did some of them through the human event courses, and then after completing those classes, I then became the TA for 2 semesters for the human event. So I was a sophomore, and then I was being a TA for the freshman. Those were other 6 credits right there, and then I believe most of the other courses that I earned honors credit for was through my chemical engineering courses, just doing honors contracts, basically reaching out to the professor, or if even at the beginning of the semester, professors most likely will mention it and say, if you are a Barrett student and you're the student that is looking for an honors contract, send me an email, and then they'll provide all the information needed, but it's totally possible.
Thank you, guys. So this next question, I feel like, is a good Dr. Alfred question. They're asking the difference in the programs at Tempe and Poly. So we do have the BSc in Mechanical Engineering at Tempe, and then the BSc in Engineering with a concentration in Mechanical Systems at Poly. They are different degrees. They're separate programs. We don't duplicate our programs across campuses, but I don't know, Dr. Alfred, if you'd like to speak to that.
Well, I am very familiar with the mechanical degree here in Tempe. And I know some of the students who are in the mechanical system down at Poly. From my knowledge, and I would say here it's going to be a little more mathematical driven. It's going to be a little more theoretical. There, it's going to be more applied. Like if you came here and said, I want to do automotive, I'm interested in automotive. Then I would say Tempe's probably not the place. The more applied education is down at Poly. So it's a good education regardless, whether you want to be more applied or more theoretical. It's up to you. But in both cases, you will get a quality education.
And I would just piggyback on that by saying, as far as the content in the degrees, when you choose the BSc engineering at the Poly campus, you probably get about 3/5 to 4/5 of what you would get in a mechanical degree at Tempe. The Poly program is a little more broad engineering, and then you choose a focus area or concentration like mechanical systems, and you actually can choose a second from that list too, so electrical or robotics. And so content-wise, that's usually how that flushes out as well. If you have more questions about the differences, we actually do have ambassadors who are in that program at Poly, and ambassadors like Gabby who are in mechanical at Tempe, and you can always chat with them. The other thing I would encourage you to do is we have videos on our website, on our Fulton degrees website, that have an academic advisor. Actually, Shabnam is in them. And then our staff and our students talking about each specific degree and the curriculum. So I would encourage you to go watch those two for mechanical, and then for engineering mechanical systems, and you can learn a little bit more in detail about those two programs. I saw a couple 4+1 questions, so I might jump to those. Shabnam, I don't know if you want to give an intro into how the 4+1 and when a student does do a 3+1, how those work, and what that looks like for a student.
Yes, so all of our programs, mechanical, chemical, aerospace, and material science engineering, have an accelerated program, also known as 4+1. And we also have 3+1. So 3+1 is for students who have completed the first year of the major while, through dual enrollment or AP credits or IB courses. So basically 3+1 means you finish your bachelor's degree in 3 years, and then your master's degree in that +1. So within 4 years, you can potentially have an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. And 4+1 is for those students who are, they're going to take the full 4 years to graduate with their bachelor's degree, and then the additional year for master's degree. The benefit of a 4+1 or 3+1 is that for a regular bachelor's degree, you need 120 credits. And for a master's degree, you need 30, which combined is 150 credits. But with the 4+1, you can double count 3 of those classes or 3 of your classes, and that's a total of 9 credits. So that saves you pretty much time, that saves you money. And acceptance into 4+1 is not competitive as long as you meet admission or admission requirement, which is 3.5 GPA from your freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And you have 3 professors who would recommend you for our program. That's all you need. You have that, you'll be admitted into the 4+1 program. Whereas a traditional master's degree or PhD, when you apply, it's going to be competitive. You have to submit letter of purpose. You have to, have your recommenders, and of course, best of the best will be admitted. So yeah, 4+1 is a great opportunity. For example, in mechanical engineering, you can do 4+1 in aerospace. So you don't have to just do mechanical. You can do mechanical, you can do, mechanical to aerospace, and vice versa. For chemical, you can do chemical to chemical or chemical to material science. So there are a variety of +1 programs that we have. If anybody is interested in more information about which combination you can do, please let us know, or I will share my contact information, reach out, and I'll be more than happy to provide that. But yeah, great opportunity. Take advantage of it. You will be applying in the second semester of your junior year, and that's for all majors.
Awesome, perfect. So this next question says, I've chosen civil engineering as my major, and I'm interested in sustainable engineering solutions, but I'm wondering if mechanical might give me a broader view into the engineering from which I can later narrow my interest down. Do you recommend switching my major now or wait till the end of my freshman year to fine tune my direction? So
I can speak to that just a little bit. So if you look at the curriculum for the first year, for a lot of the engineering programs, they share those general studies classes in the first year, such as English composition, Calculus 1 and 2, your introductory chemistry, introductory physics. So if you're not 100% sure if you want to switch, it's okay to switch at the end of this, at the end of the first semester. That would be ideal. At the end of first year is fine as well, but you don't want to go beyond that. I've been working in SMT for 4 years, and I have, you may just lose credits when you are transitioning in the sophomore or junior or senior year. You may be delaying your graduation. So if you're unsure, I would definitely suggest speaking to somebody in both of those majors to find out more information. If you can make your decision, it's better to do it sooner than later.
I'd like to add on that because that is very true. I switched after my sophomore year, so I was really late switching, and I had to catch up a lot, and I had to take a couple summer classes. Luckily, I'm still going to graduate on time, which is really cool. But I would recommend, if you are unsure, you're like, I'm kind of leaning, maybe definitely talk to like other classmates, talk to people like in each major. I talked to some professors and just some like other peers through clubs. So it's really important to really like use like other resources or do your own research and look up, maybe this sounds more interesting, because if you get behind, then you'll have to come back and take those summer classes where you might have gotten an internship, but you can't really get an internship because you have to take all these summer classes. So I definitely recommend do it before rather than wait.
I'll just chime in. Remember, your time as an undergraduate it's going to be a great experience if you apply yourself and take advantage of the opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities, undergraduate research, as well as do well in the classroom. Because now I'll get on my soapbox, because I think the greatest experience is graduate education. So, but you got to be successful as an undergraduate to get there. But once you get that diploma, you can apply to graduate schools. And I think it's just the greatest experience you can have on a college campus. Now, speaking about sustainability, we actually have a master's degree in modern energy production and sustainable use. It spans engineering as well as the School of Sustainability. So you can work in nuclear engineering. You can study batteries. Because if you look at solar energy in the next 25 years, the big thing is batteries. Solar cells, not going to be it. Silicon is at 29%, theoretically 29% efficient, and not much there other than reducing the price. But batteries are going to be important. So I would say get involved in undergraduate research and then think about where you want to go in terms of graduate school.
The other thing is, based on what you're interested in, I think EPICS, Engineering Projects and Community Service, might be a good program for you to start in. Engineering Projects and Community Service / EPICS allows students to work in teams and be paired with a community engineering challenge. So these are real communities, whether they're local or global, You're in interdisciplinary teams, and you will get exposure hands-on into how these problems are solved and what those team components are. And it might help you identify what a good fit is for you and what problems you like to solve related to those sustainable engineering solutions early on. EPICS is a 1-credit course, and then you can continue on it as a course or outside of the course. So if you would like information about EPICS, please let us know. They do have a session. I just can't remember if it was last week or if it's still upcoming. So you can check out our admitted student sessions and see if that's updated for you. Another question we have is about how large the classes are that you take at ESU and how that varies from freshman year to senior year. And so they do vary. I think one tool that you could actually utilize is just going to the ASU class search, where they have the registration for all of our courses. You can actually see how many seats are available. You definitely will have some larger lectures like math and physics in your first couple of years, but those always have like a recitation or a lab that is smaller. We only have a couple classrooms on campus that hold, 300, 400 students. So it's not, all our classes aren't that size, even though a lot of people think that they would be because our university is so large. So they're definitely not that big, but we do have, again, those recitations and sections for you that will make your classes smaller. Your intro to engineering courses are 40 students. ASU 101 is like, 20 students. Barrett courses are always small. Those seminar courses are always very small, around 15 to 25 students. And so it definitely does vary. As you get into the more specialized classes, they will get smaller and smaller, as you'll see, as well as, there are seminar courses and research that you can actually get credit for as a student as well. Another question, this one's for Ben. The student is a transfer student and they're also doing astro. And so they're asking what your focus is and how you would rate the learning experience so far.
So I am astronautics focused because I like space, and I think there are a lot of people who also like space, but there's nothing wrong with the aerospace focus. So far, my experience has been pretty good. I'm a freshman during COVID, so you have to take that with a grain of salt, that it has been hard to make the most out of my experience, but I've enjoyed a lot of it. I think that, especially being a freshman, getting involved with everything is really, really important, whether that be comms or some of the opportunities that Fulton offers. So how I've made my experience better is I participate in a lot of events like Devil's Invents, which are kind of like hackathons, but for engineering. It's a weekend-long competition where you are presented a prompt on a Friday night, and then you have all day Saturday and Friday night to create a solution to that problem, basically design, propose, and then present on Sunday what your solution is. And it's a competition, and there are a lot of sponsors that help with that. So the most recent one that I'm going to do is was the drone defense one, which was hosted by a community partner of Boeing, which was really cool because there were people from Boeing there, which I really enjoyed. And then also one program that I'm a part of is the SpaceWorks program. It's a unique opportunity that ASU has. It is basically a NASA pipeline accelerator. So basically, it is hosted by Sherry Boonstar, who's one of the professors in the School of Earth and Space Science. It's not an engineering program, but it's the School of Earth and Space Science. And they give you somewhat engineering challenges, but also some School of Earth and Space Science challenges. And you design a project for a potential NASA mission, and you work on that through the semester, and you learn about how NASA works through like their verification and validation process, how they create project proposals of like sending missions to Mars, and basically just learn about all the ways that NASA operates as a freshman. They call it kind of work experience, and also you get to meet people from JPL. ASU has a really strong connection with people at JPL, so I really encourage anyone who's in astronautics to look into that. It is a 3-credit course, and it is hard to fit into your major if you are doing engineering, but maybe taking extra credits one semester. I don't know. I was able to get into it because I had some AP credits coming in, but I really encourage people to at least take a semester of it and just build those connections, because that's what engineering is all about, is having those connections with people in the workforce and having people know your name.
Awesome. Thank you. So this next question is asking if there's a research course offered to help prepare or support students when they're in research. So we do have some structured research programs, again, like the Fulton Undergraduate Research Initiative, which is FURI, the Grand Challenge Scholars Program, has research components. But as far as, support during research, you'll always be in a research lab with a faculty member. You're not doing independent research solo out on your own in the world. So your faculty members really do serve as your mentors, and your grad students, the PhD students in the labs, even the other undergraduate students who've been in those labs for a while. Our undergraduate students that work in labs, and especially the ones that are Fulton ambassadors, because that's primarily who my team gets to work with, but they're very accomplished in research. I know a lot of them even have their names on authors on papers. They do presentations at conferences. FURI provides a travel stipend when travel opens again for students to present at conferences. I can even think of like a handful of students I know who have earned a lot of research funding just from presenting at conferences. So there's a lot of support just in there. And I feel like, I don't know if Dr. Alfred wants to talk about that a little bit, but your faculty and your grad students and the other students in your labs really do provide that support for you.
I totally agree. That was a perfect explanation. Yeah, you want to, you will have support. You won't be alone. So most faculty members will encourage you to work closely with their graduate students. I know I do. And that's the way you get real hands-on experience, but also you get the benefit of their experience as being a researcher as well as being a student.
Great. And so this next question from Logan, this one is a quick answer, but when you meet online with an advisor to select courses for fall, is that with a Fulton advisor or a general advisor? So all of the students in Fulton, you will have a specific Fulton Schools advisor, and that advisor is specific to your degree program. So like the team that Shadnam works on, they are all SEMTI academic advisors. So they only work with the students who are in these specific SEMTI programs. And then they are you have these advisors throughout the rest of your time. And then if you're in Barrett, you have a Barrett advisor as well. I don't know if Shadnam, if you want to add.
Yes. So in SEMTI, you are assigned a specific advisor. So you'll have, we do reach out to students before the orientation and, introduce ourselves. And then we are assigned to you as your advisor, pretty much if we're here and you're here until graduation.
Awesome. The next question is asking what's the benefit of honors credits? So I'm assuming it's more about what's the benefit of the Honors College itself. I think that is definitely something that is a benefit to each individual student in your own experience. There are a lot of things that Barrett offers for you. Additional, research opportunities, connections to faculty, a lot of resources. They have a huge study abroad program. They have those smaller classes that a lot of students like, a lot of seminar-based courses in specific topics. They bring in faculty and, just in general speakers from all over the world that stop by and will work with their students. They have their own residential community on each campus. And so you are immersed in this smaller residential community with other Barrett students as well. And so there's a lot of different things that it offers you. It also is, an additional academic challenge that I think a lot of our Fulton students are part of the Barrett Honors College as well. And they do have sessions. They have Barrett sessions all the time. So you can always jump in to one of their sessions. I don't know if any of our students, Brenda's and Barrett, Gabby, if anybody wants to talk about why they picked Barrett, you can. Brenda unmuting. I can see her like looking across her screen.
Well, before Brenda I just wanted to mention one of the benefits that I see my students always take advantage of is early registration. You get the first registration as a Barrett student. And believe me, sometimes it's necessary for you to get the first registration because classes get full in 24 hours, in 48 hours. So that's, I believe that's a great perk being in Barrett Honors.
That's definitely one of the advantages of being in Barrett. You do get early registration. I think it comes handy your freshman year because that's when you tend to take like your chemistry, physics, like organic chemistry courses with other students in engineering or like biology or chemistry majors. So if you have a specific time frame that you want to take that specific class, in or a specific professor, then you definitely want to get like early access for those classes. But then I've also had friends that have the late registration or later registration and they're able to get into the class. I believe there's many seats available for the students to take the classes that they're required to take, or when there's something that, or like a reason why you don't have availability to get into the classes that you have the options for, then you can always talk to your advisor about what to do to get access into the class that you're trying to get access to. Another benefit is well, for me, my personal experience, I've gotten a lot of public speaking skills by being a TA. Also, the honors contracts, a lot of the times I had to do presentations in front of my class, and this was early, like my freshman year. I've also gotten those same opportunities by being involved with the Fulton Schools of Engineering. Fulton Ambassadors gives me those skills as well as being a student worker. I'm a recruitment assistant. So there's definitely a lot of different benefits. But if you're not in Barrett, I definitely believe that you can get many, if not all, of the same benefits by getting involved through the Fulton schools.
And so we have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to breeze through these a little bit faster. So Ben,
I'm answering a couple of the questions for me in the chat. So for the ones that aren't directed to me, we can answer those, but I'll send text response right now.
Yeah, so I know there's one in there about a 3-credit course, if you want to drop that in there. Can classes in engineering for freshman and sophomore year students fill up for Barrett students? So you are always guaranteed your classes as part of your major map. There will always be space for you, but students like to create their own schedules. I think that's one of the nice things that, once you're in college, and you'll start to see as you progress through your time, a lot of students you'll see try to stack their courses on certain days so they can use the other days for research or the other days for internships and jobs and things like that. Or if you are not living on campus and you're commuting, that's another benefit too. So, but you get priority registration as being part of Barrett. So you get your first shot. And then, elective courses some of them only have so many seats. So you might not be able to take it the first semester. You might have to take it your second semester and things like that. I know the President Crow class, I think Barrett students get a first shot at that too. He teaches a seminar course. And so that's just another benefit for that. But no, you are still guaranteed all of your courses and taking all of your classes as well. There is a question that I'm not quite sure what the ask is. It's just asking, are there customized programs? Are all students eligible? Is this based on elective course selection? So Jonathan, if you can explain that a little bit more, that would be super great. Sorry, I'm trying to do these live. So here's a question, maybe Dr. Alfred could start and then the students could jump in, but what are some of the ways students receive hands-on engineering experience within the classes themselves? How present is hands-on engineering in the engineering curriculum from year to year? I will start off, but this is something that our Vice Dean always points out, is a lot of a lot of engineering is, some of it's going to be software based, so you might not think of that as hands-on, but it is actually a very big component of what our students do. It's also math is a huge component, and physics are huge components of your engineering programs. And so that is hands-on. I mean, you're taking engineering courses your whole time in math and physics. So it is, you can even look at the curriculum and see all of the courses. You take FSC 100 your first semester, intro to ASU. You have to definitely take your math and physics prereqs, but everything you take builds on itself. And it's calculus for engineers and university physics. So they're definitely hands-on, and we want you to surround your coursework with experiences as well. That's why we have the Fulton Difference program. So things like Fury and Epics that we've mentioned, and Grand Challenge Scholars, student organizations, and we have over 60. And so you have everything from, you know, the Sun Devil Robotics to the Sun Devil Satellite Lab, student organizations, professional societies, diversity organizations, and you'll see your faculty in those as well as advisors. And so there's a lot of ways that we really surround, you know, build this experience for our students. It's not just tied to the classroom. It's all the things that you do is what's going to make up your engineering curriculum. So I don't know if Dr. Alfred or Shabnam want to jump in on that.
Well, I'll say this much. Hands-on is perfect. I mean, it's good experience, but concepts will take you further. When I was working at Texas Instruments, we had an issue where we were doing a diffusion anneal, and the wafers got pushed in and we had an electrical outage. They pulled them back out, and we've never had that situation. But I referred back to the characteristic diffusion length that I learned in kinetics and applied it. We used that, we adjusted the time, we adjusted the temperature, pushed the wafers back in, poof, we hit the mark. So I have to stress that you want to understand the concepts, because if you don't grasp the concepts, you can't apply them. But yes, many of our classes may not have like the advanced materials characterization lab. It has, I mean, the intro to materials characterization, they have a lab. So they get to go in and put their hands on these $1 million tools. Yes, you will get that advantage in various classes, but not in all classes. But I will stress concepts, learn the concepts and be able to apply the concepts.
This next question too, this is a Dr. Alfred question. The nuclear power generation certificate, how does it differ from a master's or a PhD?
Okay, the nuclear engineering certificate, that is a, excuse me, a 15 credit certificate in the graduate program housed in electrical engineering. Excuse me. You take the 3 core courses, design, diagnostics, the third is apply. So the 3 core courses are already established, and then you get to take 2 additional courses as technical electives. So it's 15 credits. So you can take that as, say you're working over at APS, you can take that, apply to their program, you take the certificate and you're gone. But you can also apply for the certificate and simultaneously apply for the master's degree, so that you, after you complete those 15 credit hours, you may say, hey, I like this graduate school experience. I take additional 15 credits and I have a master's degree in electrical engineering with a certificate in nuclear energy.
Fabulous. There's another question about what do you need in your computer to be able to run programs or software, et cetera. One of the things that we would just recommend is that you have a machine you're familiar with. I mean, if you're a PC for most of your life, transitioning to college, trying to switch to a Mac, maybe wait a little bit for that. So as long as you have a laptop or a computer that works for you, laptops are more ideal because obviously you could take it with you and study in between classes in the tutoring center and things like that. But you shouldn't have any issues. If you have specific questions about the tech for upper division courses, usually your faculty, that's listed in the course requirements, or we have high performance computing labs that students can use. And we also have laptops that you can borrow and check out. For Jackson, who's visiting next week, if you haven't signed up for a tour with Fulton Schools of Engineering, we encourage you to do so. Those are the ones that Brenda gives and that I give and some of our other students. You can do so at engineering.asu.edu/visit. We're giving on-campus tours throughout the week. Pre-registration is required. We have a ton of opportunities for entrepreneurship and innovation. Dr. Siebold actually runs all of our E&I programs for Fulton. You can get engaged, just by attending lectures, by attending his Make It Happen sessions, or you can join pitch funding teams or create your own team and be a part of ASU Venture Devils or the Innovation Open. So there's so many ways. You don't have to have any experience at all. He also teaches, there's a couple courses that you can take as a junior in an E&I. And then if you join things like Grand Challenge Scholars Program, there's some additional ways for you to get involved with entrepreneurship through those. And Brent does have a Make It session, entrepreneurship and innovation session happening. I think it's next week. So you could join that and learn a little bit more. Brent is a great human to know. And so it's a great session to attend. And then I think we answered this one. Yep, Gabby and Ben, thank you. I asked the question about the residential communities. If you are deciding to come, we do encourage you to register for housing early. They do anticipate that the Tooker House Res community will fill. So if you would like a spot in our engineering res community and you're not a Barrett student, we encourage you to register. I think we are at time. So we would just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you to the ambassadors. Thank you, Dr. Alfred. It was great. And Shabnam, these are all people you will see here in Fulton. And so they're great resources for you. If you have any other questions, you can always email our team at fultonschools@asu.edu and we can connect you with the right staff or faculty. And I hope to see you in some of our other sessions this week. Have a great day and go Devils.